What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. 2021 is in the books, and yeah, let's talk about my favourite movies of the year. This is my top 10 favourite movies of 2021. Overall, I think this has been a very good year for movies. Some great films that have come out this year. There's been a lot that I have missed. So if your favourite film is not on the list, it's either I haven't seen it yet or I didn't enjoy it as much as you did. But these are my top 10. Let's get in with number 10. Number 10 is The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad was finally a DC film that actually felt like a comic book film. It was fun, bright, colourful. I loved all the characters, and it was just a great kind of ensemble film that was bloody violent, really funny dialogue, and just overall just a great time throughout its runtime. I think it was a great time. Much better than the 2016 movie of the same name. But yeah, it helped that it was pretty much a kaiju film at the end. It was all good. Number 9 is Nobody. This was a really fun action film. I thought Bob Odenkirk really delivered the role here of this nobody that is more formidable than you actually expect in this film. He absolutely kicks all kinds of ass, and it really does make the film that much fun. It has brutal, grounded action and shootout straight out of a video game, and I think it's one to watch. I think if you're a fan of Die Hard, John Wick and Taken, I think this sits amongst those as just really entertaining action films. So I think you should give Nobody a try. It's definitely one of my favourites of the year. Number 8 is Godzilla vs Kong. I know what you're thinking, guys. I know you're thinking,
Jason, why is a Godzilla film so low on your top 10 of the year list?
That's basically because the other films on this list I thought were better than this movie. I enjoyed more. It's all about enjoyment, this list. Speaking of enjoyment, Godzilla vs Kong, I think just delivers on the entertainment value. 100 minutes of just two giant monsters kicking the absolute fuck out of each other. It delivered with a flawed but fun story. Next level CGI effects. I thought the CG effects in this movie looked absolutely fantastic. And I think it gave us a monster battle that will be debated for years to come. I mean, I'm on the Godzilla fan group, and there's still continuously posts about,
oh, Kong really won this. No, Godzilla really.
There's still debates about this movie, but if a movie can last longer than its theatrical run, if it could stay in the zeitgeist and people's mind, it's done a good job, I think. Being negative or positive, it could be a really bad film that you just can't help but want to talk about because it's so bad. But Godzilla vs Kong is on my top 10 list for a reason. I thought it was vastly entertaining, and I think it's probably setting up some really cool things for the Godzillaverse in the future. Number 7 is a little film called Antlers. The trailer for this film came out 2 years ago, and I thought it looked absolutely fantastic. But obviously, due to the current global climate, it basically was delayed, and it kind of stealth dropped, disappeared as quickly as that, really. But I will encourage everyone, if you're into your kind of like creepy horror stuff, I think this film needs to be seen by a lot of people. It's a very kind of deliberate, slow burn horror that delves into the darkness of child abuse and post-traumatic stress disorder, but it's done in a very kind of tasteful way, and it's shot beautifully. This is one of the best looking films of the year. I think if you look at the whole year as a whole in 2021 for movies, I think the big thing that have come out this year for me is how great cinematographers have really kind of showed the art form of cinematography in film. Antlers is no exception, and yeah, Antlers is great. I really recommend it to loads of people that are into the horror. It's a slow burn. It kind of is deliberately slow, and I think it gives the film enough time to breathe, and yeah, it's just really good, and I highly recommend it. Number 6 is going to be ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I only watched this quite recently. I was really late to this film. Very big surprise for me. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed this film from start to finish. I think this got exceptional fight sequences, some of the best Marvel has ever put on screen, in my opinion. What I love about this film the most is that I love where it's not your usual Marvel formula. It kind of takes away the powers. There's powers in there. Powers takes a back seat, and it's more about the martial arts aspect. and you know the physical action is just great in this film. But I really love the characters. I love the story being told here. It's just really like old school Chinese cinema kind of folklore stories, and I really do love that about this movie, and I think it ties into the MCU quite well. I think for a standalone film with him in it and the story being told here is really, really great. I love this film, and I think it's unlike any other Marvel film to come before it. It's a big breath of fresh air, and I think everyone should check it out. Really surprised me because I didn't really care about it at all. It wasn't on my radar whatsoever. But yeah, loved it. Fantastic. Speaking about not being on my radar, number 5 is going to be Cruella. This film was a big surprise for me. It was a massive surprise. I can't really explain to you how it kind of just blew me away a little bit. The film just is entertaining. Just the way it delivers its performances. The visuals in this film are beautiful. It's almost like a heist movie. It's that engaging. And yeah, like it's got Emma Stone's greatest performance on screen in my opinion. I just had a story that I couldn't help but be invested in from start to finish. I do believe Cruella is probably the best film Disney has put out in like more than a decade. It is incredible and I love it, and I think everyone should check it out if you have not seen it. You know, like for me, it wasn't on my radar. I didn't know anything about it. I kind of knew about the character, of course, from 101 Dalmatians. It was a film that really was not really a film I would usually gravitate to. But when I heard people that were like me, weren't really gravitating to it initially, but actually saw it and loved it, I thought I'll give it a go, and I thought it was fantastic. Number 4 is Last Night in Soho. What can I say about this film? It's just a masterclass in everything it does. It has a wonderful concept and mystery that kind of takes its time to build throughout the film. There's no like immediate payoffs. It's like it basically takes you on a kind of a journey, a tale, and it doesn't let up and let you know what's going on until the very end. And I love that. I love the film for that. It kind of really stretches out this mystery and makes you kind of question what's going on until it does reveal what is happening at the end of the film. I think the cinematography is incredible. The performances are brilliant. The colour palette is vibrant and beautiful. And some of the effects in this film, they have this weird mirror effect in it. It's absolutely unbelievable. Some of the ideas this film does in terms of visual design, it's brilliant. And I think the story is fantastic. And I think one of these great films that I think everyone will learn to appreciate more and more as it gets older. And I think it's one of those big cult films that I can see being lots of people's favourites in years and years to come. It is a great, grounded, great concept, executed perfectly, and I think everyone should go and see it. It's fantastic. Number 3 is going to be Ghostbusters Afterlife. This film, right, was a film for the fans, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It builds everything from that 1984 original Ghostbusters movie. It builds on everything that is established in that film and just gives you this story of just beautiful, heartwarming, and it's just an adventure for everyone, and it's just such a great family-friendly, just thrill ride of a film. And I think it's got some of the best effects in any Ghostbusters film to date. Like the visual flair of this film is absolutely stunning, and I think the production design is just mwah, chef's kiss. It's just so good. And again, cinematography in this film is stellar as well. It's absolutely, everything comes together in such a perfect way that I think even if you're not a big Ghostbusters fan, I think you might absolutely have a great time with this film, like I did. I'm not the biggest fan of the original film. I do like the original film, but like this film is just, it's just a fun, entertaining ride. And if you've seen the original 1984 movie, it just adds to that. It adds more to that kind of entertainment kind of value. It's fantastic. I can't praise Ghostbusters Afterlife more. It's just so good. It's so good. My number 2 is SpiderMan No Way Home. This film is something special, guys, in my opinion. For me, experiencing it in the theatre with a packed out crowd that just wanted to see this movie, that were huge on it. Just on its own, just a theatre experience on its own was something special. But this movie, mate, I tell you, it's so magical in its execution, and I I honestly believe this is one of the finest examples of a superhero movie we've ever had. It shows what a superhero movie can really be, in my opinion. And I'm quite happy that it's Spider-Man that showed us that. I think it's just, what a perfect hero to have this movie like this. I think it's just bang on the money, and it's making all the money apparently. But yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, without going into spoilers, I just think it looks amazing. The performances on everyone involved is perfection. I think when it concerns character development, I think Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Tom Holland's performance as Peter Parker in this, the character development is just so much in this one film than any of the other two Spider-Man films in the MCU that came before this. You really feel like Spider-Man truly becomes Spider-Man in this. Peter becomes Spider-Man. Not for the first time, obviously, but he really does realise what it means to be a hero. And that's what I love about this film, is everything about Peter Parker is truly a Tom Holland film. It is a true Spider-Man film. I've always been a bit cynical in regards to previous films in the MCU, how I felt like Tom Holland's Spider-Man was being a bit overshadowed by people like, you know, Mysterio and Iron Man, and he was kind of almost living in the shadows of other characters. But this film, it takes the third movie in the MCU Spider-Man to really give us a proper Spider-Man film and let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. I absolutely adore this movie. I cannot talk about it anymore because spoilers are rampant, and I don't want to spoil anything if you've not seen it yet. But it is a perfect superhero film for me. I think it's one of the greatest superhero films ever made, and it's probably my favourite Spider-Man film ever. Like, I can't express the feelings I had in the theatre just watching this, with hundreds of people that were all for it, and it was just so great to hear everyone's reactions and also watching what was on the screen. It was great. My number two. My number one might come to no surprise, because I've spoke about this one film for so long since I saw it, guys. Number one is Malignant. Trust James Wan to give us a horror that just absolutely just is just unbelievable to watch. I've never been so entertained by a horror film since maybe Evil Dead 2013. Malignant is this film, I think it's the best horror film in the last 5 years. I don't think we're ever going to get a film like this ever again. It achieves what it sets out to do, and that is to be a love letter to the generations of horror that we've had, you know, since the 70s, even going beyond that. And I think it's a beautiful homage to the Italian horror, especially the giallo subgenre. It is batshit crazy. It's not meant to be taken seriously. The dialogue is hokey, but it's delivered in a certain sincerity where you can't just buy it anyway, because it's just delivered in such a great way. The midway point in this film, it just gets batshit insane. Again, this is a film that I do not want to spoil with people that haven't seen it. I had a grin on my face from start to finish. I can't express how much I love this film. It was just nothing we've ever seen before, while also being a lot that we have seen before. It's weird. It was kind of this weird amalgamation of everything that the horror genre has done, and it's just a massive love letter to horror fans. And going by the box office results of this, it didn't do well, which is really a shame. I'm hoping that it becomes more of a cult film going forward, because I think it deserves more audiences, more eyeballs on this film. It's a project of love from James Wan, that he has this love for these kind of like 70s Italian horror films, this giallo subgenre, and I think it's one of the best horror films in the last 5 years. And I think the actual antagonist, the villain, probably one of the coolest horror villains we've had in absolutely decades. And I believe the villain in this film, without, I can't really say who it is, I can't go into spoilers, but the villain in this film deserves to stand alongside Leatherface, Ghostface, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers. He deserves to be amongst them. The villain in this movie deserves to be amongst them. But yeah, Malignant is pound for pound an incredible ride. Don't go into it expecting like a really deep, serious horror film. Go in it expecting this film is going to be ridiculous, but it's going to be a great fun ride, and I think you'll enjoy yourself. I absolutely adore this film, and it's my film of the year. What do you think of my picks on this video? And let me know down below what your films of the year are. I'm sure I've missed quite a few films this year, especially some high profile ones like June. Didn't get to see June, unfortunately. Let me know what your opinions are down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for the support on this channel. It really does mean the world to me. It has. This year has been amazing, going from 100 subscribers in January, and I'm almost on 600 by the end of the year. It's been incredible growth, and I do appreciate everyone's support. As always, guys, I have been Jason, and I will see you next time.